Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Aries for November 2018. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Check out the wealth of free resources and other resources I have on there, including access to me for live readings. I have been on sabbatical from taking on new clients, but if you'd like to have me look at your chart and help you out, I would love to. So you can check that out at anniehelpsyou.com. So what's going on this month of November? We are very excited as Aries. I have Aries rising, so I am grouped along here with you with the excitement. And the reason why we're excited is because planets are moving into Sagittarius. This is a time of year, this happens every year, but this year there's an extra bonus because usually the personal planets are moving into Sagittarius as they start this month. But this month we also have, for the first time in 12 years, Jupiter moving into Sagittarius. So that is a fellow fire sign. That means at some point over the next year, from the end of 2018 to the end of 2019, every Aries is going to have Jupiter make a trine with your Aries placement. And the more Aries placements you have, the more kisses you're going to get from this most favorable 120-degree angle, the trine. Okay, so if your birthday is in the early part of the Aries sign, so if you're like a March-born Aries, or maybe right there at the beginning of April, then you are going to get the kisses right straight off the bat. November, December, into early January, you're going to have this time where at some point in there, depending on your exact placement, Jupiter is going to make a trine with your Aries placement, and that is amazing. So extra blessings, extra expansion, extra seed planting, extra things coming into fruition that you've already worked hard for. You middle degree placements and later degree placements, it's going to be staggered for you because it's going to take a little longer for Jupiter to get to your position, but it's going to happen for everybody, and that's very exciting. So besides Jupiter making these trines for Aries, adding more fire to your fire, expanding further all the things that you've been working on, giving you more energy, giving you more optimism, giving you more hope, giving you more creative push. We're also going to have Mercury right from the beginning of November starting in Sag. So then Mercury is going to make trines to all of your placements. And then we're going to have, and that includes a retrograde. So some of you are going to have double, triple trine because when Mercury crosses over it, then it will go backwards and will go all over again. So then the sun will get there and do the same thing. And then eventually down the line, months from now, Venus will get there and do the same thing. So you're standing in front of a lineup of very sweet blessings in the energy of Sagittarius. So these things can expand any area of your life and every area of your life. But there are certain things related to Sagittarius that are very much expanded. And I'm going to talk about that more once we talk about Jupiter's placements. But first I have a surprise for you. So for all these years, depending on how long you've been watching me, I've been talking about these early, middle, and late degree placements and telling you, promising you that it is different. The chart is different for you depending on where you are in the Aries spectrum of 30 degrees of these potential Aries placements. Depending on where you are, the view looks a little bit different, and timelines for events astrologically can be staggered for you. So finally, I figured out how to get a visual of the charts of the early, middle, and late degree placements so that you can see how the energies shift the further you go into the sign. So I'm going to show you that, and then we'll go back to talking about what Jupiter is set to expand for each of you and in general. And so if you're not interested in that visual, you can fast forward through it. I know Aries can be pretty impatient, but I do promise you that if you're interested in learning astrology at all and want to expand your use of astrology, or are just curious about certain things and want to learn something, that if you watch through this little visual I'm about to do, then it will probably be worth it, okay? I think it will definitely be worth it. Okay, so let's skip over to the charts and then we'll come back and talk about what Jupiter's set to expand for Aries placements. Hello Aries friends, I have been wanting to show this to you for so long. I'm so excited about this. Okay, this is the visual as to why the early, middle, and late degree people can have a different experience of the same transit because it's not in the same place for each of you. Where it is for you depends on your exact placement. So I will show you the 3 charts that I use. I use 3 charts for every sign every month, not just one, in order to get more accuracy. Okay, so after this, I'm going to go back and talk about the implications of the things we see here, but I really want to get this established so that you can understand it. we've got an early degree chart here. Okay, so early degree people, you're the first 10 days of the birthdays or the first 10 degrees, so 0 through 9 degrees. So I use a 4-degree chart because that's midway between. That's like the middle of the early chunk, okay? So it's easy to get a good visual there. I know you probably don't know what the heck you're looking at, but don't worry about it. I'm trying to illustrate a point. You can ignore everything else. Middle degree people, we use a chart. I use a chart of 14 degrees because middle degree is the second 10 days of the birth sign, okay? And then for degrees, it's 10 to 19 degrees if you're watching for your rising or moon. Late degree placements, last 10 days of the sign, the latter part there. If you're watching for your rising, it's 20 to 29 degrees. Okay, so I use 24, that's midway between. So the first thing I want to talk about is Saturn, and then we're going to talk about Jupiter. Okay, so we've been talking about for Aries that early degree people are at a major and middle. Early and middle degree people, you've been at a major crossroads. For the earlies, it's really getting on now, you know, and of course it's also going to depend on what exact degree you have on your 10th house cusp. That's going to be the final determinant because that can be different, and it could also be different depending even on other factors besides your exact rising sign. But when something crosses over this 10th house cusp, which is the line between the 10th and 9th houses. See how some of these lines are darker in the chart? How this line looks like a cross, this line over here. This is the cross of the chart. Any activity from outer planets that happens on those lines create major crossroads. Because when this Saturn's here, it's not only having the effects of Saturn moving into the 10th house, which is its own major experience, but it's also kicking a 180-degree angle down to this 4th house cusp. So it's very directly affecting home and family, sometimes real estate, sometimes where you live. So that the changes in the workplace, the pressures, the tensions, the expansion, the change, whatever you're doing, however it's manifesting, is affecting directly home and family whenever you have that 180-degree angle. So you middle degree people, this Saturn has been dancing between 0 and 10 degrees. So you are in this too. Some of you early guys, you might be done with this already. Maybe you just went through this. Middle degree people, major crossroads, lots of stuff going on with your work opportunities, place out in the world. Could be father figures, things going on with parents. This is the parent line, mother, father. So again, it could trigger a move, could instigate something overstimulation in the home and family sector. But now let's see, you late degree friends, let's get all this mess off of here. Look at the late degree chart and see you're not having this happen yet because everything shifts to the right. So look at Saturn. It's way over here. It's not near that line yet. That's not going to happen, till next year after, it's going to be a while. Depending on your placement. If you're an early late degree placement, you'll have it happen earlier than the late degree placements. But this isn't in this configuration yet. So that's a big difference. Okay, so now let's look at Jupiter, which might be a little bit easier to see. Jupiter is moving into Sag. Yay! This is amazing for fire signs. It's amazing for everybody, I think. But when we talk about where it's going to accentuate, we know that people who know anything about astrology will know, in general, Sag rules the 9th house of Aries, right? Because Aries is a natural chart. So we see Jupiter about to go here. 9th house imminent. That's what's going to be accentuated. When you look at the middle degree chart, get this mess off of there. Okay, look at the middle degree chart and check out where Jupiter is. Is it really about to go in that 9th house? No. Still longer in the 8th house. So that's going to be staggered for you. All the planets move clockwise. Okay, so this way. That's where they're going. Unless they're in retrograde, of course, but that's a whole different story. Okay, so then if you look at the late degree placements, where's Jupiter? All the way at the beginning of the 8th house. Is that anywhere near the 9th house? Nope. So when you hear reports that are saying, yay, Aries, Jupiter's going to go into your 9th house, if you're later in the sign, that is not true. That is true in the future. You know, it'll be staggered by anywhere from 2 to 4-ish or so months for you middle degree people. For you late degree people, you're not going to have Jupiter in that 9th house until well into next year. So maybe it will start to kiss that area like April, May, but then it will go retrograde and go all the way back. So you have Jupiter accentuating your 8th house. Okay, so see the difference? Very big difference. And then even here back, like, look at Uranus. Talk about Uranus moving into the 2nd house. Okay, just ignore where that line is. They're not always exact. There are a lot of factors, but Uranus has been dancing with this 2nd house for your early degree placements. So you would hear General Horoscope saying, Uranus is in the 2nd house for Aries. Is Uranus anywhere near the 2nd house for a late degree? No way. It's going to be a long, long time before it gets to the 2nd house. So it still will affect 2nd house things for everybody because Taurus rules the 2nd house for all signs. So Uranus in Taurus will have all signs, all placements of all signs, have the story of Uranus move into their 2nd house in some way. But as far as the actual placement and then the increased experience there, it's not there. It's just not there because for every degree more or deeper into the sign you are, where the planets are for you shift. Okay, so it brings the later degree placements into a later experience of those transits. Okay, so that is what I wanted to show you. Really quick, I want to also just show you how the regular horoscopes, like the sun sign, how that is different. Okay, so here, look at the sun. Let's just start with the early so we don't get confusing. Okay, so for most horoscopes, they're going to say the sun is accentuating your 8th house this month. Yes, okay. You can see that's going to happen for early. For middle degree placements, is it there? Nope. It'll be there in a few weeks. The timeline of a faster moving planet like the sun is a few weeks versus a year or more months or whatever for, Jupiter. And for outer planets, it's years and years it takes to move this distance of this arrow, But you can see how it's staggered. So not quite in the 8th house at the beginning of November for you middle degree placements. Then for your late degree placements, where's the sun? Nowhere near that 8th house. So towards the very end of the month, it will start to pop in, and then it will have its time there. Okay, but it's different. It's staggered. Okay, so now let's talk about the implications of these things that we talked about. Okay, wasn't that exciting? So now you can see that you early degree placements, so March born Aries, you're going to have right there starting at the end of the year when Jupiter makes its movement into Sag, you're going to have Jupiter not only in the sign of Sag, but also in the house of Sag. Okay, so this is important to understand because what I'm about to explain about implications of Jupiter in Sagittarius, every one of every sign has these potentials increased because Jupiter is moving through the sign of Sagittarius for everybody. But for Aries, we have extra blessings in this particular department because whenever it gets to the 9th house, and it will be staggered for each of us over time, over this next year, the later we are in the sign, the longer it will take to get there. But it brings this double energy of everything Sag. Okay, so everyone is set to have this, but you early degree placements have an extra smooch of it over the next, November, December into the beginning of January. And the middle and late degree placements, you have just one dose of it until it gets to your division, and then it will be even more turbocharged. So what does that mean? Jupiter is happiest is in its own sign. All planets are. And the 9th house has to do with optimism. So just straight up being more hopeful, being more happy, being more optimistic, feeling lighter about things is more likely. General exuberance and energy levels could definitely increase. It can also increase and enhance your international sector. So I'm telling everybody to get their passports if you have any possible plan or hope to go international. it makes it more likely. So it's a great time to plan international trips in general. It's a great time to have international trips show up, which is why I'm telling you, try to get your passport updated or get your passport, so that if these things present themselves, you're not now rushing around trying to get the passport. Many of you will take this advice and be so happy that you did. So international business, your business can expand or do more things in the international arena. Your international attention could expand. This is also the area of publishing. Many Aries have something big to say, and that has to come through this larger venue of publishing. So whether it's publishing videos, whether it's blogs, whether it's books, whether it's public speaking, the act of prolific expression from the standpoint of traditional publishing, and also the many evolutions that publishing is taking, the written word and also the spoken word, audio, podcasts, etc., all are set to expand more. Teaching and learning is going to be very much enhanced, and you may find that you are more interested in learning, that you're going on a learning bender, and this could have started already. You may have been feeling this already. This desire to learn, this, unquenchable learning bender. So taking courses, doing anything that expands your learning, having books piled up all over the place more than usual. Also, if you are a teacher or are wanting to teach or are wanting to get into a different division of teaching, this is amazing because it has expansion and teaching all rolled up in it. Okay, so if you're a traditional teacher and you want to get out of the box, there's great opportunity for that for you. If you're within the system and you want to expand within the system, there's great opportunity there for you. If you'd like to get started as a teacher, there's great opportunity there for you. Many people will be waking up to their birth gifts as teachers. So educating others spiritually or on any level. But also this has to do with religion and spiritual studies. So working with the church, your work with the church, your studies of spiritual texts, whether they're a specific religion or whether it's the general oneness and the strands that connect all of the religions. You may find that spirit is infusing your life very directly with more synchronicities and things like that. There is a chance for possible zealotry within one belief, even more than usual. Aries placements tend to have this energy of the zealot because they have what's called a natural chart, and a natural chart places all the signs in the houses that they rule. So that adds like an extra vigor to all the expressions. So you're more inclined to be a zealot about something. So just make sure that it's not, that it doesn't become that one way is the right way and then you're forcing people to listen to the things that, there's a chance for some challenges to come from excessive expression in a certain area. So just be cautious there. The energy of feeling guided and channeling wisdom are also enhanced significantly at this time. So if you're a channeler or you want to be, where a higher force is working through you in some way, and also your connections with conscious higher connections can definitely be expanded at this time. This also is one of the houses that pertains to legal matters. So you may find that things like immigrating and I say immigrating because that both rules legal, or involves legal and also the international energies, which are very present at this time. So anything having to do with law matters, legal matters may get amplified now and could come to solution. Remember that these transits often test weak links. So if you have a weak link, it's going to be tested and it could cause problems more as a process of seeking to solve it. Jupiter wants solutions, but sometimes it has to amplify the problem in order to bring the solution. So it's like right in your face. So one of the themes and tips for this time is to really try to remember this thing that Einstein allegedly said. We can't solve a problem with the same line of thinking that created the problem. So the energy of Sagittarius is this standing on the top of a mountain looking out at everything from a bird's eye view. And that's often giving a capacity to solve a problem from a broader standpoint because you're not in it. You're not in the problem, you're above it. So the more you can change how you're looking at things and do something different, if you do what you always did, you get what you always got. So there may be some involvement of expansion of perceptions at this time, and that can also very drastically change. Like increased perceptions can really come with this. Okay, so everyone will have those potentials. Now, You middle and late degree placements, you are still going to have some, either a little bit for you early middle, a little bit more for you middle, even longer for you late middle and you late degree placements. You're going to have more time working with Jupiter in Scorpio while you have those other themes present. So Jupiter in Scorpio, remember, this is the luck and money house. Excuse me. So this has to do with other people's money. So winning money, sweepstakes, inheritances, family money, family members just giving you money or loaning you money or gifting you money, spousal money, your spouse having some money come to them and that benefiting you. Something basically where someone else's work and resources are helping you. And sometimes you barely have to do anything for it. You know, of course, since the Scorpio house is also the house of power and control, there could be some control issues that are wrapped up in the help, and that could be something that's coming up. But in general, it's a great time to be in sweepstakes, to find money on the street, as I've often seen with Jupiter in this placement. Grants, having to borrow money if you need a loan, if you need venture capital, getting any kind of financial support or getting any kind of emotional support or any other support that you need to expand whatever project you're working on. And that project could be yourself, like your own psychology. This is a psychology house and it's one of the astrology houses. So expanding your esoteric wisdom and usage of esoteric wisdom, as well as things like astrology and other things focused on the psychological behaviors. It's also the house of intimacy and also sex, and also one of the marriage houses. So many times people will go deeper with their relationship or find a person that they can go into very deep relationship with. This can also be a time where you heal intimate issues. And, you know, the issues of power and control are very likely to come up, but they can also find resolution. You can see places that you've been blocked. So, let's see. Okay, so these are the things that are most on my mind for Aries. Now let's talk about these beautiful aspects. I didn't mention it earlier, I don't think, maybe I did, but I meant to. Either way, that November has way more sweet aspects than challenging ones. It's very unusual that that happens. So even within the awkwardness of Venus being retrograde and then going direct, and Mercury being direct and going retrograde, we still have so many sweet spots. So I'm going to give you the dates for those. I'm going to give you the dates for the ones to watch, and then also just talk about some other things related to the transits for this month. So my theme of the month of November 2018 for all signs is defiant optimism and relentless hope. And I'm getting this from the energy of Jupiter in Sagittarius. We've just talked at length about how Jupiter in each of the houses of, you know, your individual sign can bring that energy of Jupiter into certain areas of your life. But the general experience for everybody that everyone has access to has to do with this increased energy of sparkling luck, defiant optimism, relentless hope, unprecedented growth, glorious expansion, because Jupiter is so happy to be in its own sign, and this only happens for 1 year every 12 years. So it's a very big deal. You can think back to what was going on 12 years ago and the kinds of themes and things that showed up, and you can see how it may relate to this current transit. Of course, there are different factors at play now than there were then as well. It's always more complicated. And of course, not every person is going to experience the energy of defiant optimism and relentless hope. You know, we shade how we see things with how we are and what our outlook is, or what we have going on in our lives, or whatever our more personal chart has going on that we may not be able to see in the general horoscope. So we see things sometimes as we are, or as influences are around us, not always how they really are, right? Reality is subjective. But in any case, this energy of teaching, learning, speaking, writing, publishing, religious, spiritual work, international travel, international business, global connections, different countries, different cultures, different languages, general expansion, general happiness, general freedom is this theme that's running through for the next year, from the end of 2018 through the end of 2019. So Jupiter is the natural ruler of Sagittarius in the 9th house. It's most happy here and exuberant. We can see this energy of one's perceptions or beliefs being broadened Many people will have learning frenzies where they feel so driven to learn more, and the things that they're learning may be more diverse in nature. Maybe they'll go headlong into one course of study, or maybe it's a general course of study under which there are lots of little pieces. Jupiter likes to get its fingers in a lot of pudding pies. So Jupiter favors breadth, sometimes even over depth. You know, it's the more seeds you plant now during this time, the more plants can grow from the seeds that you've planted over the next 12 years. So zealotry with a belief system or studies can definitely happen because Jupiter is the energy of excess. So we'll see this extra oomph being added to however Jupiter is manifesting. So the energy of legal matters can also come through in a very big way. One of the rulers of the legal realm is Sagittarius and the 9th house. So sometimes there's an amplification of a problem that's already brought to the law. Sometimes, you know, this escalation brings it, but it will very likely be in the forefront over the next year. So we still have Venus retrograde until the middle of the month, and so we're not going to be seeing clearly in love, beauty, and money in many regards. However, Venus retrograde can also bring in things that we planned to do for a long time, things that we were hoping for, things that we were working towards can magically start to come in wonderful ways. If there are issues in love, self-esteem, or money or finances, sometimes those issues come back up to be dealt with. Sometimes things that we've dealt with in the past now come in as blessings in this time. So definitely check out my resources. I've done so much work for you on Venus retrograde, but I'm not going to get into that here because you can look at the October horoscope to see where Venus has been working in your sign. You can also look up Annie Botticelli, Venus retrograde, to find my blog, very comprehensive, and my video, very comprehensive, that tells you everything that you need to know about Venus retrograde and how to navigate the transits. We are also going to have Mercury going retrograde. So that is another factor here that has to be taken into consideration. On the 15th, we have the retreat of Mercury from 13 degrees of Sagittarius back to 27 degrees of Scorpio. So that rolls until around December 6th. And then the post-shadow period runs until around the 24th of December. So if you're trying to focus on Christmas shopping or whatever other holidays you celebrate, the later kind of last-minute shoppers will probably benefit more here, because by the time you're getting into mid-December, a lot of the shadow period of the Mercury, retrograde and post-shadow, post-transit shadow period will have passed. So you're better off doing it later, because there are a lot of factors involving money. But, you know, follow your flow. If you're feeling inspired, just do your thing. But you will notice, if you track making purchases when Mercury's in retrograde over time, that they tend to come in broken or the wrong size, or you don't like it or the person doesn't like it. It increases the odds of communication about what people want and about what you're ordering. So the energy is more clear towards the middle of December. So, you know, the couple of weeks before the holiday times. So now, since we've found this amazing truth that there are more positive aspects this month than there are negative aspects, and there are a massive amount. This is a very rare month indeed. I want to touch on some of those beautiful aspects. First, I'm going to give you the dates that the positive aspects happen. And remember, when I give you the dates, that sometimes you feel the expression before or after that day. Don't cling too tightly to the actual day, because there are orbs of energy around each transit that can manifest in the days before or after. So November 1st, these are the sweet days, or the sweet aspects. November 1st, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 11th, 15th, 20th, 22nd, 23rd, 25th, 26th, and 27th. So within all of that, we also have some of the best beautiful aspects of the year, with Jupiter coming together with personal planets that can bring amazing luck, some of the luckiest days of the year. So we have those wrapped up into this, okay? So the likelihood of stress, challenges, and overstimulation or general awkwardness is more likely in the days around the 15th, 19th, 22nd, 23rd, and 30th. So you notice a lot less here, a lot less. We start out November. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of some of the main transits and what you can expect with them. But to get more details about this and a written version of it, definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, and sign up for my free email newsletter, and you will get a month ahead the written version of the transit so that you can plan around it, because I know many people, including myself, do that. So the first, we've got this amazing transit with Jupiter and Chiron in a trine. This is a major boost to ignite your superhero self. Anything that was a challenge in the past could come back to you in a wonderful way. Let's say you've had a problem, it's been ongoing, you've been working on it, or there's an area of life that you have to work harder in. This period of time could bring major blessings in those areas. We also have, between the 5th and the 6th, the Sun and Neptune being in a beautiful aspect that can boost love and intimacy and tenderness and spiritual breakthroughs and creativity. On the 7th, we've got the new moon at 15 degrees of Scorpio. And this is time to make your new moon and wishes of anything Scorpio related. So anything having to do with debt, loans, borrowing money, loaning money, inheritances, intimacy, sex, power, esoteric studies, psychology, anything along the Scorpio lines. Between November 8th and 9th, we've got Jupiter entering Sagittarius. Yay! This is very exciting. Very, very happy in that place. We've talked at length about that. And then on the 9th, we also have Venus making a beautiful aspect with Mars, the female energies and male energies blending beautifully at this time. The draw to connect socially and romantically may be stronger now, and nice outcomes from that. Of course, still be aware that Venus is in retrograde, so you're not seeing clearly in love. And because of the closeness to Mercury being in retrograde, just keep it in mind as you're navigating through these relationship things. But either way, things, energy returning from the past rather than new endeavors are better supported, but just male and female energies coming together can really sizzle now. It's also great for charisma and creativity and overall sweetness. Okay, so then on November 11th, we've got the Sun in this beautiful aspect with Pluto. And this has to do with your determination and your drive and your purpose, which can feel extra strong right now. Even though Venus in retrograde doesn't work well to support major launches, this is a time that expansion of something already in process can be great. So if you're following a continuum, you have something that you've been doing and then you add to it, you enhance it. This is a period of time where things like that can do well, like edits or experimentation to work that's already in play, or betas, things like that. Maybe you might be able to get some information there. Okay, so the 15th, Mars and Uranus are in a beautiful aspect. And this has to do with exciting and positive change, can have to do with wild insights that could turn out to have major merit. The energy of Uranus is fleeting. So if anything is going on in this time and you have a really good idea, definitely write it down, because you think when you have the idea, there's no way I'll forget this idea, but Uranus energy tends to, it's not very stable. But you could do something more substantial with it in the future if you hold on to it. So write down your crazy ideas. November 15th, we've got Venus direct at 25 degrees of Libra. That post-shadow period ends December 18th. So we're moving out of the Venus retrograde cycle, but there's still like a hangover of it where you're still really feeling it. And the rules still apply to a lesser degree with each day you pass out of the transit. November 15th also, Mercury goes retrograde at 13 degrees of Sag, back to 27 degrees of Scorpio. So Mercury can often bring back to us places, people, creative projects, ideas that were present before that can come back. You may find that you are very drawn to do work on publishing things. It's not the best time to launch them, but it is an amazing time to work with them in the backdrop, to do edits, to wrap up things in anticipation of this open window that's coming soon that we've been waiting for forever to push things out. I love the end of December and into January for pushing your publishing or other projects out. So this is a great time to tie up loose ends. November 19th, we've got one of those challenging aspects, Mars and Jupiter. So guard against injuries, especially now. You're more likely to get a cold, or your resistance may be down from overstimulation. This can also manifest as like wanting to expand, but then expansion or movement being blocked. but that should pass over a few days. Then on November 20th, we have another sweet aspect with the Sun and Chiron, so this can bring a wonderful chance for releasing heavy baggage. So Venus is making more of its movement direct. Maybe things that came up in that retrograde may be starting to shift now. And a notable physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual healing is very possible from this transit. Which brings us to November 22nd through the 23rd, the full moon at almost 1 degree of Gemini. It is squaring Mars and opposing Mercury and squaring Neptune and opposing Jupiter. So it's a pretty busy, maybe could be very stressful full moon, but there are positive aspects that can come from it. So fullness, completion, drama, fruition, coming to anything Gemini. You know, any travel things. You could have a trip come up or being followed through with. You could have something notable with your car. Be extra careful driving because Gemini rules transportation and walking and biking and skating and whatever else, flying. Okay, so Neptune moves direct at 13 degrees of Pisces on November 24th. So this can help the fantasies that we've been rolling around in move forward into tangible reality. November 25th and 26th and 27th, we have the Sun and Jupiter getting together in Sag, and then we have the Sun and Mercury getting together. And all of that's wrapped in with this Jupiterian energy. So good news, good luck, auspicious, random things, things expected, things that you planned. This is a beautiful time. So smile big with awesome expectation. Okay, so then we've got November 30th, we've got another little bump here with Venus opposing Uranus. That often brings jolts or surprises or arguments or stressors in love and money. So just breathe deep and know that usually the things that come up with these type of transits feel really upsetting at the time, but they tend to pass pretty quickly. Okay, so these are the things that are most on my mind for the general transits. And I hope that you definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, check out my wealth of resources on my free blogs. Also, you can sign up for my free email newsletter and get updates as far as these newsletters that I send out with the month ahead written. Also, when I update my written horoscopes at cozybysweetstarlight.com. Cozybysweetstarlight.com, I have written horoscopes that often cover different information than I do in the videos. So you can see those, and when you sign up for my free email newsletter, you will know when I update the upcoming month, which of course everything is always ahead of time with me. Then if you're a traveler, go to astrologykissedtravelbliss.com. That is my travel astrology website where I do monthly travel astrology reports if you're traveling, special transits to note for travelers. And if you want a reading, I am still open. I have been closed for a long time on sabbatical from taking on new clients, but if you'd like to have me look at your chart, go to anniehelpsyou.com and you can book a reading with me live. And if you're interested in tarot, definitely go to my husband's website, IamHelios, IamHelios.com, and check out his tarot course where you can learn tarot, and he also does readings. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.